Hey folks, so today, as requested by Pulse, I'm going to talk about how to make a medieval paper computer game. So, as always, this is pretty simple. It's basically the same as any other kind of paper computer game, but you got to do it in a medieval setting. And there's actually been quite a few really good medieval paper computer games. I'm probably going to do videos on those at some point. Most of them have been done by Chris, because he's, big into fantasy and, into that kind of stuff. Some of them have been like sort of time travel, someone from the present day travels back to the past and it's a medieval adventure. Sometimes it's an alternate universe, like Chris created an alternate universe with like, a medieval town and there's like a great pyramid and everything. That's in Ginkis's Gift. Probably going to do a video on that at some point. So I'm going to look at a few elements of those, try to put those together in this, and show you some of the common elements that you find in a medieval paper computer game. So the first thing you have to do is draw a medieval screen. So, that's the first thing. A lot of these games tend to start in a cell. There's usually a lot of weapons, so I put, Well, I'll demonstrate this by letting TutorialBot play it. Hey there, TutorialBot, how you doing?
I am well, thank you.
Today, you're going to try playing a medieval paper computer game. I know that's a little weird for you because you're a robot, but today, you are taking on the role of this here guy who has been unjustly imprisoned in his enemy's castle, and so you're being hung by chains. They're being hung from above. Your feet are strapped down. What do you do?
I do not know. I will look at this individual. I will see what it looks like he is doing.
Well, it looks like that guy is, he is kind of slumped over his chair. He's passed out. Guess it must be pretty late for him. But he's snoring loudly.
Very well. I will call out to him and wake him up. I will say, guard.
Alright, he doesn't wake up.
Very well. I will try and slip out of my chains.
Alright, you get 1 foot out, but that's it. Nothing else can get out.
Very well. I will make a lot of noise with my foot by banging it against the wall.
Alright, well, that works. It kind of wakes up. He's like, yeah, what's up? What's going on?
I will request my freedom. I will say, please release me.
Alright, he goes, stop bothering me. He goes back to sleep.
Very well. Save game to when he was awake.
Alright, you're back. What do you do?
I will state that I am a very important person, and that he should release me.
Alright, he just laughs. Why should I release you? He goes back to sleep.
Very well. Save game to when he was awake. I will attempt to provoke him until he attacks me.
Well, what do you say to provoke him?
I will state that he is a quite unattractive individual, and that his mother is probably even less attractive than he.
Alright, he's starting to look kinda disgruntled. He's like, don't talk about my mother that way.
I will not cease speaking of his mother in this fashion. In fact, I will further suggest that she is a very unkind and unattractive individual.
He's like, I, that is enough of that.
Very well. I will state very well. I will not cease in my insulting activities, and instead, I will go on to point out that it is highly unprofessional for an individual to fall asleep on his job.
Alright, that does it. He is enraged. He picks up his axe over here, and he is running at you like, "Urgh!" What do you do?
When he approaches me, I will kick him with the foot that is free.
Alright, it works. You got him. Oof. He was not expecting that. He tumbles over.
And the moment that he tumbles over, I will attempt to grab the axe out of his hand with my foot.
Alright, well, you kick it out of his hand, but you don't really get a good hold of it. It clatters to the ground over here. I mean, you can kind of reach it with your foot, but there's not much I can do with it.
Very well. I will attempt to edge it up with my foot.
Alright, you're edging it up, but meanwhile, this guy is getting up, and he runs over and gets this here mace.
Very well. I will wait until he is close with the mace, and then kick the axe down such that it falls onto the floor in such a way that when he steps on it, it is likely to swing up and hit him in the face.
Alright, well, that's kind of like a long shot, Tutorial Bot. I don't know if that's gonna work, but it does. It works. And like when he runs over, surprisingly, against all odds, when he steps on the axe, it swings up and hits him as he's running over with the mace, and he's like clutching his gut, and then he falls over.
Very well. I will attempt to pull the axe up further and use it to break myself out of the chains.
Well, first of all, the axe fell over, so you can't pull it up.
Very well. I will attempt to reach the guard's armor plate with my foot.
Alright, that works. You can kind of reach his armor. He's like collapsed right on the floor right by you, so you can kind of reach his armor.
I will reach it, and then I will pull it upwards such that my foot can reach his pocket, and then I will attempt to find the key to my chains in his pocket.
Alright, yeah, actually, he has the keys, and it's not even on his pocket. This is a medieval setting, remember. It's actually just hanging from his waist. So, yeah, you can actually just grab the keys with your toes.
Very well. I will grab the keys with my toes, and I will attempt to bring them upwards such that I can clutch them with my mouth, and then I will find the appropriate key and insert it into the keyhole in the cuffs, and then I will release myself.
Alright, I'm gonna say that works. You are able to get the key up to your mouth, you unlock yourself, and you are able to get out. Alright, so what do you do now?
I will get the axe and the mace and put them into my inventory, and then I will exit the room.
Alright, you put them into your inventory screen. Inventory screens, by convention, have an E at the top of them. And you've got an axe. And you've got a mace. I know, I'm too lazy to draw it good. But, whatever. You've got that stuff. So, now, what do you do, Tutorial Bot?
I will exit the room.
Alright. You go outside. You find yourself... Alright, so you come out over here, Tutorial Bot, and you're now in this kind of cave-like area. What do you do?
Very well. I will... What is this individual over here?
That guy looks like he's some guy in some kind of a robe and a hat, and he's dead.
Very well. I will make sure that he is dead by checking his pulse.
Yep, he's definitely dead.
Very well. I will search him to see if there is anything else on him.
Yeah, you find some weird powder.
Very well. I will take the powder.
Alright, I will add that to your inventory screen. It's in like a nice little jar. Alright. So you got some powder.
Very well. I will examine the book.
Alright, you look at the book. It says that it's a book of incantations, and there's all these different, spells in it.
Very well. I will attempt to read one of the spells aloud.
Alright, does it matter which one?
I will attempt to find one that creates a fireball.
Alright, so you look through the book and you find one that does look like it creates a fireball. You read the words aloud and nothing happens.
Very well. I will look towards the beginning of the book to see if there are any instructions.
The beginning of the book just says, read the words and cast the magic, and your effect shall manifest.
Very well. I will cast the powder before me, and then I shall date the incantation.
Alright, well, that works. It creates a fireball. The fireball flies forward, just like hits the dead guy. Just he catches on fire.
Very well. I will. What is this over here? This.
Well, this is like a chasm. Like, it's just a sheer drop down here. You can see there's a ledge over here, but it's out of range of you to jump.
Very well. I will examine the spell book to see if there are any spells that might allow me to jump farther than normal.
Alright, you find one, and this one is called... Well, it's just a jump spell.
Very well. I will state the incantation and cast the powder before me.
Alright, it works. You feel your legs are just super energized. You feel ready for anything. And what do? I will attempt to jump across the chasm. Alright, well, it works. You make it across. Whew. And that is our game for now. So, yeah, folks, that's another essential element of medieval games, magic. Different games have approached this in different ways. There's a lot of different ways to incorporate magic into a paper computer game, but the essential idea is you want to have some way of casting spells. I mean, in this game, for the simple purposes of this, I incorporated one that basically lets you have any spell you want, but you could just, like, allow them to access one spell at a time. You can, like, say, oh, I'll just give you a fireball spell. Maybe you can find different spells in different places, and then you can use those to solve puzzles. That's a really cool thing to do in a medieval setting. You can also play around with, maybe adding a battle system. I don't know, that's pretty complicated. Like, normally for most paper computer games, I would just, keep it to this simple play mechanic. But you can do stuff with weapons, you can do stuff with armor, and you can do stuff with magic, and that is plenty cool stuff to take you on an adventure. The only other thing I have to tell you is, number one, use riddles. It's like in ancient times like this, it helps give a feeling of, a mythological sense of, wonder. If there's things like riddles, weird, interesting, kind of timeless puzzles to solve. Number 2, use the farmer. Include the farmer. He's a classic PCG character. He is the quintessential medieval paper computer game character. I was going to put him in here somewhere, but I didn't have time. He is just the guy he's just like an innocent farmer, and he keeps getting caught up in terrible circumstances beyond his control. In the original PCG series, he actually was teleported forward in time out of the medieval area, and when Luke came into the future, then he later settled down in an alternate universe, which is medieval again. So it's like he, in a sense, came home, even though it's not really his world. But yeah, so he is a good character to include if you want to. So he's a pretty good tradition for medieval PCGs. And number 3.